This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.
The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, says the United States is interested in investing in the Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline NMGP project. The Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline is a proposed $25 billion project to transport natural gas from Nigeria to Morocco through 13 West African countries before it connects to the Maghreb-Europe gas pipeline. Joining the conversation is Ayodele Oni, an oil and gas expert. Mr. Oni, good morning. Thank you for joining us on the conversation.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Now, Mr. Oni, can you summarily tell us what this means, this particular project?
Okay, so the interesting thing about projects such as this is that it improves your security of energy supply, or of energy demand rather, such that you're sure that as you invest capital in infrastructure, on the other hand, you have people who are going to buy that energy. Because energy without infrastructure is almost nothing. At best, you sell the raw materials, and at times, selling it even becomes a challenge, and you can't add value to it. You can't move it around. So energy with additional infrastructure means you have a larger market, particularly pipeline infrastructure. You have a larger market, and you can make more money. And it's mutual. For buyers, it guarantees or improves the security of energy supply. So, relying on only a country such as Russia, you now have multiple options. And, it couldn't improve our forex. Of course, especially when you now have a country like the United States wanting to participate. But, of course, there will be conditions. For example, they may want to use their own contractors, right? They may want to do counterpart funding of some sort and get their monies back through empowering their own citizens and corporates who render services, engineering services, EPC contract services, and the like. That's the way I see it. I think it will be mutually beneficial for the world, not Nigeria or the US.
So, Mr. Oni, when you consider what they are getting out of this deal, what they might be getting, the things you've just mentioned about their considerations, does that work out for Nigeria?
Oh yeah, it's a win-win usually. You can't be a win-lose, right? They wouldn't do business and say, oh, you get all the benefits. They also want benefits. Benefits may be ensuring that American EPC contractors, there's Bechtel, there are a few of them, and I hope I'm right that Bechtel is American. There are a few guys who do LNG, who do gas pipeline, who do these sorts, right? They may want to, and there are a lot of Chinese companies which also do it. Like our AKK, at some point, the conversations were with Chinese companies. But America may want to get the first mover advantage, such that they provide some financing, which may be loans, and then ensure that it's their own contractors. For us, it's that ultimately we're able to supply gas internationally, just beyond what we currently do locally. It improves our forex and reduces the pressure on the naira. The more USD, the more forex you make, the less pressure and the quality of or strength of the naira then also improves. So there are advantages for us, actually. In the short term, you may not immediately see those advantages, particularly if you have to pay back. But in the mid to long term, it's a fantastic thing if it does go ahead, actually, for us, because it then means that, there's an expanded market for us. Please go on.
We know that we signed MOUs with 4 other countries, so 5, right? Morocco being the 5th, but we did sign MOUs with 4 other countries ahead of this project. Can you speak to us about how this particular pipeline, what it says about our focus on the gas side of the oil and gas sector? Are we actually likely to see it build up and take more prominence than the oil sector over the next few years?
Oh, recall that President Buhari declared, I think, 2020 the year of gas. And 2021 to 2030, and this government has continued that, has been declared the decade of gas. And to be honest, and we need to also be fair, Obasanjo started all of this, when we had the domestic gas supply obligation and regulations backing that policy, right? And the plan was to make Nigeria a gas-centric, to make Nigeria's economic growth gas-centric. And these guys have now taken it further, such that you can see infrastructure going in place for a very long time. For example, we had the Eastern and Western gas pipeline network that were unintegrated. When you hear help, that's the Western, Now you have the OBEN, you have the OBEN 3, you have you have the AKK, all trying to now, OBEN is Eastern, and it sort of integrates between Eastern, West, Eastern and the South, and integrates both the Eastern and Western unintegrated gas pipeline. And then you have AKK joining them, so that we now have across the North, South, and East, North, West, South, and East, or the North entirely. So all of this infrastructure is now building on what Obasanjo had done and be continued by Jonathan. And this government is doing really well when it comes to energy. So yes, we see a lot of emphasis even in the local palace for gas, domestic use, power. A lot of people are looking to do all sorts of projects around gas. You understand? People have virtual gas pipeline, CNG. You see a lot of estates being powered by smaller power plants, 1 to 3 or 5 megawatts, and they use CNG. You see government talking about gas penetration, LPG penetration, LPG being cooking gas, liquefied petroleum gas, propane and butane, largely butane in Nigeria because it's a hotter region, and propane elsewhere in the world. So there's a lot of emphasis. And it's not just only Nigeria. You find that the world is considering gas as the energy transition bus stop. So before we transit to complete non-carbon, gas is going to play a large role for in my view, yours and my own working lives. It's still going to be gas largely. Maybe by the time we're retired, there'll be more around renewables and non-carbon means. So it's interesting and interesting times. And I'm advising on at least 10 gas projects. There's the Optimara gas project in the Lagos Spring Trade Zone, and a number of projects I wouldn't want to mention for client confidentiality. Right. So there's a lot of projects going on, yes.
Mr. Oni, thank you so much for your analysis on this matter. We appreciate your time. Our guest, Ayodele Oni, is an oil and gas expert speaking to us on U.S. interests in the Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline project. This was announced by the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy. The Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline is a proposed $25 billion project that will see the transportation of natural gas from Nigeria to Morocco, and it will cut through what is 13 West African countries.
This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.